Once there was a tree, and she loved the little boy. And the boy loved the tree very much. And the tree was happy. 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 And the tree was happy.
The first time I saw the light of the sun, I believed I would be cared for by those with whom I shared so much, and to whom I gave many pieces of me. So I rooted myself to this place that I call home, to this spot in particular. Now I see that others can so freely move away and disappear, and I remain, forced into stillness. And I think I should be angry, but I have not yet learned how to be. I don't remember much about that night. I remember it was winter. I remember there was wine. I remember I wanted to go home.
And then I don't remember.
Until I recall bed sheets that were not mine, and blood that was. I remember physical pain for a week, and worry that I've not yet been able to forget. I remember a woman with a clipboard on an oatmeal-colored couch asking me to put a name to the violence, asking me to give you the title you gave to yourself that night. I remember hating her for asking me to do so, even though I followed orders. And then hated myself for being so obedient.
Shame woven into their sound waves.
I remember waking up the next morning and thinking,
So this is what it's like when your home is robbed while you are fast asleep.
I remember I was 22. I remember going to work the next day. I remember stories were helpful when they poured from the mouths of women. I remember wanting to be helpful too. I hope I am. I hope I am. I hope I am. This is a story about all the things I cannot forget. I will mention a few who call themselves men. You see, I needed a handful of secondary characters in this story that so completely belongs to me. It is a story about a boy who refused to grow up. It is a story about a boy even though there is a girl who treats him kindly, loves him freely. It is a story about a boy who takes a kiss from this girl without asking or thinking much of it or considering that it might be something worth cherishing. It is a story about a boy who soars through starry night skies with yet another girl who is small yet mighty with wings of her own who allows him to fly much higher than he ever could without her. It is a story about a boy even though this small and mighty winged woman shines alone, glows bright, provides light, shares something valuable with this boy who only knows how to take. It is a story about a boy who refused to grow up, a boy who leaves loyal ladies waiting in windows full of pain, thinking they had at least a friend who would surely return or at least crave their presence for a moment, a boy who forgets or never cared enough to remember. It is a story about a boy who refused to grow up, who takes the magic from one woman in order to take another far away until she has flown so far that she is distanced from even herself, a boy who forgets or never cared enough to remember. It is a story. They explained to me. But I know it too well. And I know it is not fiction or fantasy as they try to make me believe, and I am so tired. It's all right, darling, to keep the window shut, to protect yourself, your mother, your sisters, from boys who refuse to grow up and never wonder what it is to give.
And the tree was often left alone. And the tree was often left, and the tree was often left, and the tree was often left, and the tree, and the tree, and the tree. But time went by, and the boy grew older.
Well, I say, I just thought we were trying to have fun. Has this not been fun for you? He asks. And I think he means it. I think the question is genuine. He is seeking an answer. And my eyes are screaming, no. But I guess he doesn't hear it, or see it, or feel it, or know it in some hidden corner of himself, or think for a moment that could be the case. And I almost laugh at his oblivion, at just how careless he can be, has proven to be. And my eyes are screaming, no. But my lips betray me, forming, I don't know, as though to reinforce the discontent he does not realize he's sown into the space between us. The less I apologize, the more I seem to lie. Do they realize it's invasive, what they do to us? In the company of tangled sheets and a silver moon, do they realize it's intrusive, inherently, anatomically, even more so when they take our time? Were they not taught to share from a young age, or has it always been so easy to avoid the rules of common courtesy and the sandbox? I mean it. The question is genuine. I am seeking an answer. We go our separate ways, the strings of dissatisfaction crackling apart as we do, and I think I am dragging the bulk of them behind me. And I wonder if he ever saw anything in my eyes beyond two pools of a color he never tried to describe. I have loved the sound of my sheets since you have moved beneath them. The song goes. I play it again and again, and in the morning I wake up with myself, and I find that I enjoy the symphony of my own restless dreams. The sound of me in motion.
I'm too old and sad to play, said the boy. I'm sorry, said the tree. Life is not fun. I want a boat that will take me far away from here. I'm too sad. I'm too sad. I'm too sad. Take me far away from here. Take me far away from here.
After I told you what happened to me one night, that night not so long ago, but pushed so far from my recollection, from my ability or desire to remember, revisit, relive, that it is now faded, though never forgotten. After I told you about that night, you sighed, and I wondered how you could breathe so deeply when I struggled to find even a few sharp inhales to extract the last few words from my voice, my ability or desire to speak, share, reach. And while I was reaching and you were sighing, I realized I didn't feel any tension within you, not even the false kind that you could wear and remove like a mask or a pretty girl on your arm. And I realized I was angry. And silent. Then you said, "Unfortunately, that's not an uncommon story." Like that was an appropriate response. Like that offered any comfort at all. Like I should be soothed by this happening to other women commonly. Like I was not reaching for something better and hoping you might be one such thing, and realizing after I told you what happened to me, you went on breathing deeply, lying there without tension, and I felt no desire at all. I have been taught to unlearn the definitions of words I once held dear.
They rot in my mouth now. They are sour on my tongue, bitter between my lips.
And careless men have been my teachers. I did not need to relive this for someone who thinks space is improved when filled with words that are his.
I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money? I'm sorry, said the tree, but I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. But take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city, and then you'll have money, and you'll be happy. I have only leaves and apples. I'm sorry, said the tree. I'm sorry, 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 I'm sorry.
Did you hear the news today? Like nails on a chalkboard, sandpaper scraping against teeth. Did you hear it inside you long after it was broadcast? Do you hear it still, and wonder if you'll ever know peace again? Or if the echo of this sound will ring inside your skull, within the section of your chest that's been carved out, excavated, made empty, hollow, for much longer than people will talk about the news, for much longer than half the audience will remember it even happened. It happened. Did you hear the news today? Did you see the news today? Like a scene of flesh torn open, spiked, muddy boots too mindless to step over the carcasses, so instead they rip through whatever gets in their way. Boots belonging to men who were never told to watch their step. Red paint-filled balloons penetrated by darts, splattering against a pale blue wall, paint dripping down so slowly that you wonder if it's paint at all. A child aimlessly roaming about an amusement park. Parents packed up the minivan and miles down the interstate by now, as she screams inside her mind until her voice goes raw. Do you see it still? Someone with so much hope and silence seared across their lips. Did you see the news today? Did you feel the news today? Did your hands ache? eyelids heavy and wide awake all at once. Did you feel more alone than you've ever been, and anything but simultaneously, as she stood before an army of men and made a vow, despite the fact that this militia of clones, firearms at the ready, had branded liar across every inch of even the idea of her? Do you still feel the news from that day when you go to speak the truth and wonder if it matters, if it's necessary, if it's even true at all? I feel it too. Power is not something you possess. It must be exercised. She practiced it in her way, I practice it in mine. And we are both strong. For strength exists in many forms and cannot easily be defined. Thank God for that. Did you hear the news today? It made me want to pound the mute button and turn the volume up all the way till the whole contraption blew to bits, out with a bang. But I find I have misplaced the remote. And anyway, it doesn't matter if you change the channel when the news is always the same.
But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was happy. I'm sorry, said the tree. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was happy.
I look around and notice for the first time that there are others around me, close enough to reach. But they too have been changed in a way that was, is, has, and will remain harmful. In a way that will be relived, and I wonder why I did not admire them more often out loud when they were standing so tall, and why they did not reach for me. I wonder if I would have accepted an act of such love unprovoked. Somewhere in the distance, the smallest sapling peeps through the soil, and I will the winds to whisper, "Reach for them, the others growing from the same earth through which you are expanding." And I wish I did. Reach for them. And I wish I knew. And surely it will not always be this way.
The forest is my house. The forest is my house. The forest is my house.
She looks like an angel, tall and proud of who she is. She smells like the earth when it's raining on a sunny day. And these days when she sings, it's louder now. She makes noise without thinking about its quality. She makes noise because she wants to, because she can. She laughs like the summer, and she cries like a starry autumn night. She's got dirt beneath her fingernails and a sweetheart of a blonde best friend. She's got deep, warm eyes, and I swear they only see the good. And that heart of hers, it's solid gold. to match the brightness of her brilliant mind. And she is moving on, always ahead, always onward, teaching me that though heaviness can weigh you down, it can also send you hurtling forward.
And he made a boat and sailed away. And the tree was happy.
The water, the wind, and his gaze had all grown so cold concurrently. So, forgive me. I was not expecting such sudden warmth when the world around me was so frozen and unmoving. Lacy fractals frosted the window pane, clung tightly to the glassy surface to expand upon their own intricacies, or perhaps to peer in and catch a glimpse of us dreaming. And in the morning they had melted away, and streams of water, containing everything the fractals had been, pooled at the window's base. How lovely, I thought, to see something so suddenly changed. And I realized that the first feeling I felt with you, beneath those windows during that slow, alert surfacing towards the morning, was peace. So, forgive me, but I was not expecting such sudden warmth, and I am still learning to thaw. He saw a tree before him when he hacked me to bits, when he made some part of me fall, and my roots grow thicker, deeper, closer to those like me, closer to the center of all things. He did not see those beside me, roots growing deeper by the minute. They must only see individual trees, never a forest, when their eyes flit past singular beings for the taking. But when one tree falls, you better believe she makes a sound, whether the ears of a man are present or not. And the forest grows angry, for these men with hatchets have taught us how to be. And the earth is stirring. The earth is stirring.